A Norman gas line rupture creates a morning scare. Teachers lash out at the state government, and a consumer warning about a scam involving the state Republican Party. This is OU Nightly. A contractor's mistake this morning resulted in a ruptured gas line in southeast Norman, creating fear among residents and triggering fast action by first responders.
The spokesperson for Oklahoma Natural Gas Company confirmed that a third-party contractor hit a gas line at the corner of Southeast 12th and Highway 9. ONG says its crew responded quickly and was able to seal off the leak, eliminating the risk of an explosion. But while the danger was averted, for much of the day, at least 8 homes and 1 business were without natural gas. ONG just last week was ordered to pay the Corporation Commission fines totaling more than $1 million in the wake of a January gas leak explosion that destroyed 1 Oklahoma City home and damaged dozens of others.
And a recent poll reveals a vast majority of Oklahoma public school teachers aren't pleased with the state government. The poll shows 80% of teachers say they have an unfavorable opinion of Oklahoma's legislature. SoonerPoll.com, Oklahoma's public opinion pollster, randomly selected 458 teachers across the state. The teachers polled reflect Oklahoma's voting population. Most describe themselves as conservative or moderate, with 51% leaning Republican and 41% leaning Democrat. All of the teachers polled say they plan to vote in the coming election. Teresa DeBacker, an associate dean at OU's College of Education, says the high rate of dissatisfaction all comes down to money. DeBacker specifically cites poor teacher pay, insufficient funding, and legislative budget cuts as main factors. And coinciding with this high dissatisfaction rate, this year we're seeing many teachers running for the state legislature.
President Obama announced today that high school graduation rates are at an all-time high.
We recently learned that America's high school graduation rate went up to 83%, which is the highest on record. That's good news.
Though the country at large is seeing record-breaking high school graduation rates, Oklahoma's have dropped. And even though Norman's school district is typically strong, Norman ISD's graduation rate is well below the national average at 73%.
And Oklahoma Republicans should stay aware as the election approaches. The Oklahoma GOP discovered a fraudulent fundraising scam last week and warned their Facebook followers on Friday. Scammers called from Las Vegas phone numbers, asking for last-minute donations to the Trump campaign via credit card. The Oklahoma GOP has no information on their main website, but anyone unsure about donations should call the Oklahoma GOP headquarters.
Commercials opposing and defending state questions are flooding TV in the weeks leading up to the November election. An exclusive News 9 and News on 6 poll on State Question 777, known as The Right to Farm, found that 49% of likely voters support, while 36% are opposed. OU Nightly will dig deeper into State Question 777 this Thursday. Now, it has been extremely hot this weekend.
Last week we started to experience some fall weather, and then all of a sudden the temperatures are up. Kylie, what can we expect for the rest of the week?
The rest of the week, it's going to remain just as hot. Now, this is largely due to the part that over here in the central part of the United States, there's not much going on. If you look off into the northwestern part of the United States, you can see the remnants of that system that dumped a ton of rain, hurricane force winds on that Pacific Northwestern area. Now that storm system is just moving off into the east and breaking apart. Here in our region, though, it's just hot, above normal temperatures throughout the entire region. They hit a new high up in Omaha today, and this is also largely due to the part that we've had extremely strong southerly winds, and that is making our temperatures above normal as well. 19 miles per hour sustained wind here in Norman right now. Look up in Enid, 31 miles per hour. Hot and windy throughout the rest of the day today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kylie. And it's deer season in Oklahoma, that time when whitetails seem to look for a car to hit. October and November mark the time of year that motorists most often hit a deer in Oklahoma. The chances of a driver hitting a deer more than double in October and then again almost double in November. State Farm Insurance says the odds of hitting a deer this fall are almost 1 in 200, an increase from last year. The company advises to drive with caution and never swerve to miss a deer. The most serious crashes happen that way.
And Emily Akins joins us in the news center with an update on the Iraq forces in Mosul. Emily?
Thanks. Iraqi Prime Minister announced this morning the start of a mission to liberate the city of Mosul from ISIS. The minister said only the forces with the Iraqi army and national police will enter the city, and these units released a statement saying they are targeting ISIS tunnels and trenches south of Mosul that contain highly destructive missiles. This fight is expected to last weeks, if not months, but authorities say they have already liberated a small area around the city. And France is also a major player in the fight against ISIS. The country is increasing its strikes against the terrorist group and using these jets to do it. They took off today to help Iraq in the fight to take back Mosul, and French authorities say after they were hit hard by ISIS terror last November, they are determined to destroy the group. And according to new CNN polls in Nevada, North Carolina, and Ohio, Hillary Clinton inches ahead of Donald Trump in Nevada and North Carolina, but still trails to Trump in Ohio. The polls were taken after the accusations of sexual assault against Trump, but in both Ohio and North Carolina, comparisons from polls in late August suggest that the allegations are not actually hurting Trump in either state. And Pedro Hernandez is about to be retried for the kidnapping and murder of Eton Pates in 1979. Pates' disappearance was one of the first publicized on milk cartons. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Emily. And still ahead on OU Nightly, new advances in the fight against pollution.
Plus, changes to train crossings in Norman.
Welcome back. Train traffic here in Norman is heard loud and clear. It has been for years. Now, OU Nightly's Amy Schneebeck tells us the blaring whistle blast will soon be a thing of the past.
The all too familiar sound.
You never really get used to it.
That has been giving several Norman residents a headache for years.
It's really annoying when it's like 4 a.m. and there's a train just like blaring by. It's like, can't you just like quiet down a little bit?
But Norman residents will soon see a solution with quiet zones. The city of Norman is working with BNSF Railways to make crossings safer and quieter using raised barriers like this one at Brooks and Classen.
We've chosen Norman to include every crossing in the city.
Each crossing can cost up to $350,000 but will prevent vehicles from driving through or around the gates.
Yeah, that'd be great if they had quiet zones and like better barriers.
That's part of the reason why we're doing the project. We've seen that trend in development and more people moving into the city closer to the track.
Norman residents will soon get some peace and quiet. Amy Schneebeck, OU Nightly.
The $1 million project is underway and construction at the crossing of Lindsay and Classen was scheduled to begin today. The project is set to be completed as early as December.
And we now turn to Courtney Boggs for updates on the fight against climate change. Courtney, what's new?
Delegates from 170 countries reached an agreement in Rwanda on Saturday to continue the fight against climate change. Negotiators agreed to cut down worldwide use of a planet-warming chemical typically found in air conditioners and refrigerators. Similar to the Paris Agreement that targeted carbon dioxide emissions, the Rwanda Accord will focus on cutting back chemical coolants called hydrofluorocarbons, which are up to 1,000 times more capable of trapping heat than CO2. Secretary of State John Kerry said that this is likely the single most important step we can take at this moment. Another addition to the list of damages on the East Coast, as if water quality wasn't already an issue for hurricane-ravaged North Carolina. It turns out that mud and chemicals are now among the least of their worries. Hundreds of hog and poultry farms are still underwater, and the carcasses of several thousand drowned hogs and several million drowned chickens are now floating among the flooded areas, leaving an overwhelming amount of animal waste being carried toward the ocean. Some residents are concerned about potential contamination in their well and drinking water. The extent of the damage will not be known until the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality conducts tests in the coming weeks. And despite recent rumors that Australia's Great Barrier Reef is going belly up, scientists say that there's still hope. Writer Rowan Jacobson wrote an obituary for the coral reef on the website Outside Online, but coral reef experts say he's missed the mark. Although the condition of the reef is not good after its recent self-bleaching incident, it is not as dire as Jacobson reported. Past research shows that coral is famous for being able to bounce back from the brink of death. And since we're talking about the great wonders of the sea, the boat formerly known as Boaty McBoatface is now officially under construction. You might remember back in April when England hosted the Name Our Ship survey, and Boaty McBoatface did win, but officials quickly squashed that idea. Not all is lost though, because there will be a submarine on the ship that is named Boaty McBoatface. So it's still there. It's just, not on the outside.
Thank you, Courtney. Still ahead on OU Nightly, the president is never late. Everyone else is just early.
Plus, it feels like summer. Kylie Caps, is it going to stick around?
Warm and windy out there today, and red flag warnings across the state coming up in Maine weather. I'm Kylie Caps. Warm and windy out there today. Look at those winds right now. It's also extremely dry. You can start to see that drought forming back into central Oklahoma. It's because we haven't seen rain in a long time. Out in the western panhandle as well, that drought is starting to creep back in. Because we haven't had that rain, that western panhandle extremely dry. Because of that, they are under a red flag warning. That means if a wildfire were to spark, it wouldn't be hard to contain. That red flag warning is going to stick around until about 7 p.m. tonight. Now, although here in central Oklahoma, we are under that warning, the conditions are favorable for a wildfire. In fact, over in Shawnee, out to the east of us in Norman, they did have a wildfire. So something to keep in mind if you are planning on burning. And if you're feeling a little under the weather today, it's because those allergy index is high. Grass, weeds, trees, mold, all of it is at that high value today. So because we haven't had that rain to wash away those allergies, you could be feeling a little under the weather because of that. Now, we aren't expecting much to happen here in central Oklahoma by Tuesday morning. Clear again. And then some clouds will start to form out in the eastern part of Oklahoma. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Again, nothing here for us in Norman. However, when that cold front does happen towards Wednesday night, we will see some scattered clouds, high clouds, but will cool us down a little bit. And again, that chance of rain returning back into the southeastern part of the state. And then by Thursday, it will have cleared some, just leaving behind some scattered clouds. So not much going on weather-wise, except for a lot of heat over the next few days. Current temperatures right now extremely warm. 88 right now in Norman. That hot spot being Guyman and Woodward out there in the western part of Oklahoma, extremely high. They actually hit a record out there in Guyman of 102 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday, and that is a new record for western Oklahoma. Now across the entire metro, it's hot. 89 downtown right now, and that heat index is going to bring it up even hotter. 91 if you're downtown right now, those lower 90s throughout the entire metro. So it's hot, but tonight it will cool down just a little bit. 65 is a low here in Norman. That cool spot out there in Guyman, that's almost a 50 degrees temperature swing out in the panhandle. That is a little crazy for this time of year. Day planner, as you're heading out the door tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit cooler than it was today. A little bit of a cool down. High of only 82 by 5 p.m. and lots of sunshine. Highs tomorrow throughout the entire state, low 80s. So again, that's going to be a little bit cooler, much cooler out in the western panhandle. And then that 7-day forecast, it's going to be lots of sunshine through the next few days. It's going to cool down a little bit, and looking at those max temperatures as well, it was much warmer than for this time of year and way above normal.
Definitely.
Thanks, Kylie.
You're welcome.
And Madison Plott is here with a look at what's coming up in sports. Madison?
Thanks, guys. We've got some breaking Big 12 news coming up in sports. And, of course, we've got the highlights from the Sooners' big win against K-State over the weekend. Stick with us. Number 3 or 2? Breaking news in the sports world, the Big 12 Conference has chosen to not expand following their meeting today. But back to the Sooners. Following a thrilling win over Texas, OU took another Big 12 victory, beating Kansas State 38-17. Along with Baker Mayfield, D.D. Westbrook really stole the show. Westbrook had 9 receptions for 184 yards and 3 touchdowns facing the Wildcats. These plays mark 8 touchdowns for Westbrook in the last 3 games, a new school record. Kenneth Adair gives us more on the team's performance Saturday. Kenneth.
The Sooner offense came back to Norman with a bang, putting up 38 against Bill Snyder and that Kansas State defense, even with Samaje Perine going out early. Baker Mayfield threw for 346 yards and 4 touchdowns, and 2 of those TDs going to none other than D.D. Westbrook. Westbrook has caught 8 touchdowns in the past 3 games, breaking the record of 7 held by former Sooner Ryan Broyles. Mayfield and Westbrook seem to be clicking on all cylinders.
We're distributing it well right now. I trust all those guys, and then D.D.'s kind of our deep threat. I mean, with speed like that, it's pretty special. So when we can take our shots, we're going to, and we're going to take advantage of the speed that he has. But other than that, I mean, all the other guys are making plays right now.
Yeah, D.D. was again exceptional. He's got incredible speed and quickness, and he's a great route runner, you know, with that suddenness and sure-handed.
Joe Mixon also seemed to love being back in Norman as he ran for 88 yards on 19 carries, but it was the receiving and passing game where he seemed to thrive the most. The OU offense has definitely gained some confidence since the start of Big 12 play and are only hoping to get better from there. Kenneth Adair, OU Nightly.
For more on the OU football team and their recent good play, be sure to check out the Sooner Sports Pad tonight. Carson Williams joined us from Studio D with a preview. Carson.
Thanks, Madison. We have a packed show for you tonight live on Fox Sports Oklahoma at 7:30. We go one-on-one with Sooner star receiver Mark Andrews. Soccer's Liz Keister and Madison Saliba will be our in-studio guests. And I'll have a feature on OU's golf superstar Brad Dahlke. And if you missed tonight's broadcast, you can catch a rerun of the full show tomorrow after this newscast on OU TV. For now, Madison, back to you.
Thanks, Carson. Sooner soccer took its 4th consecutive Bedlam victory over rival Oklahoma State this weekend. The Sooners shut out the Cowboys 2-0. The win was the 6th for OU over OSU under coach Matt Potter. Next, the girls host Kansas for senior night this Friday at 7 p.m. And in the NFL, Cowboys rookie quarterback Dak Prescott continues to shine in a big way at Green Bay. In the game, Dak broke Tom Brady's record for the most pass attempts without an interception to start a career, just before throwing his first interception in the second quarter. He ended up throwing 3 touchdowns in their 30-16 victory over the Packers. And Odell Beckham Jr. had one of the best outings of his career facing the Baltimore Ravens Sunday, but his celebration antics were definitely what drew the most attention. After his first score, OBJ went to cuddle the kicking net, and after his second, he removed his helmet, drawing a 15-yard penalty, and continued to propose to the net. And the sports world lost one of its most inspirational players this weekend. 50-year-old Dennis Byrd was killed in a car crash outside his hometown of Tulsa. Byrd was a star defensive lineman with the New York Jets when he was paralyzed after breaking his neck trying to sack former Chiefs quarterback Steve DeBerg. Byrd famously claimed that he would walk again, and in fact just did that. Many teammates and his opponents call Byrd the most courageous man they've ever played with or against. We'll be back with more news after this break.
And then me. I'm Abby Green at the Update Desk with the latest on today's top stories. Oklahoma City Police have arrested one of its own officers. 10-year veteran Lieutenant Alex Edwards is accused of tipping off a prostitute ring about a sting involving a state and federal agents. Police allege Edwards arranged a meeting with principals in the ring and told them the bus was about to come down. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Abby. President Obama showed up a little late to his speech at a Washington, D.C. high school today. There was no ill will among the students in attendance because Obama is smooth and got the crowd laughing.
I know you've been waiting here a while. Good thing you all had your phones with you. As the father of 2 teenage daughters, I know the whole time you're just like, and then he said, girl, I couldn't believe it.
Girl, I couldn't believe it either.
Okay, Eric. Kylie, could you give us a refresher on the weather for the rest of the week?
That's right, guys. Over the next 7 days, it's going to be warm. Look at that, all that sunshine. A slight cool down Wednesday night into Thursday. Those lows do drop a little bit, but it's looking to be a great week, sunny week ahead of us.
All right, sounds great.
I'm glad that we have that to look forward to.
Me too. Not quite feeling like fall just yet, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so.
It'll get
For
there.
sure. Thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.